I'm Diane Derby. An El Paso County woman known as the J6 Praying Grandma says she does not want the pardon President Trump granted to her. Shortly after he took office on Monday, the president pardoned more than 1,500 people involved in the January 6th insurrection in 2021. I talked with her about her call from God to be there and why she says she did nothing wrong when she entered the Capitol building that day.
I just said, thank you, President Trump, for being obedient to God to stand up for our country. I'm defending our country too because I'm a J6 praying grandma.
Rebecca Lovren says she only had 10 seconds to address President Trump when she met him on an airport tarmac in 2023.
What did he say when you said that?
He looked at me with that shocked look on his face. And he said,
oh, so you had that moment.
Yeah.
And then he shook your hand.
He shook my hand and he said, that's persecution. We need to stop that.
The 72-year-old calls herself the J6 Praying Grandma because that's the nickname she got when she was arrested following the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. She says her choice to show up that day in 2021 was God's plan, not hers.
My son called me and said, Mom, are you going to go to the Stop the Steal rally? And I said, I hadn't planned on it. And he says, well, I think you need to pray about it. Didn't take me very long. I sat down and spent some time with God. And he said, Rebecca, we're going to go on an adventure together. And I said, okay, God. He said, I'll be sitting right beside you. And we'll just have a lot of fun and adventure. And I drove the 25 hours.
She says when she got there, she went to the Capitol grounds and joined a group of Christians singing and praying.
And then about 1 o'clock, we heard that Vice President Pence would be certifying the votes for the Electoral College. And people were pretty upset about that. That wasn't what we expected. We expected him to use our, some of the rights that were granted us in the Constitution to at least listen to us.
About an hour later, the Capitol went on lockdown as some of the first rioters breached the building.
I got this thought, and I know it was from the Lord. And he said, Rebecca, if those barriers come down and the doors open, I want you to carry my presence into the Capitol.
There are people who would think you do have the right to protest. You do have the right to petition the government, but you did not have the right to enter a locked building. So what gave you that right?
Well, to go into the Capitol?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I don't believe we had the power to push that door open. I believe it had to come open from the inside. And when those doors opened, I just knew that I was supposed to go in. And besides that, there's a time when you have to obey God above man.
She says she went inside peacefully and left minutes later.
I didn't touch anything. I was swept up with the crowd. It was like a big rush going into the Capitol. There, on the video, Capitol footage video, there's a gentleman, a police officer right beside, almost like a door greeter at Walmart, just saying hi to me, and I was just talking to him. He never told me to leave the building, and so I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I really didn't.
Lovrens was eventually convicted of 4 misdemeanor crimes. She was sentenced to a $103,000 fine and 1 year of probation, which included 6 months of house arrest and an order to stay off the internet.
At my sentencing, I told my judge, I said, Your Honor, I respect your position as the judge, but there is a higher judge that I need to obey, and every knee will bow to him at one day. And that's who I serve, and I will suffer whatever needs to be done for God first and then for my country.
On Monday, President Trump pardoned her and more than 1,500 other people who were convicted of federal criminal offenses for the January 6th attack. The Bureau of Prisons tells me less than 24 hours later, more than 200 inmates in custody were released.
I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
But some of those people violently attacked police.
I have my doubts about how much of that is really true.
But we've seen
that on, yeah. And I can't say if someone came into your home, if someone violated a right that you have, would you defend yourself?
Lovren says she will not accept the pardon and plans to appeal her case to defend her First Amendment rights and prevent her case from setting a precedent. She also wants her criminal record wiped clean, which a pardon does not do.
I had no intention of being where I am today, but when the public of the United States, we the people of America, see a 72-year-old grandmother, great-grandmother, with an ankle monitor on, banned from the internet, can't get out of her house, except on certain hours of the week, then that wakes them up. And they say, if this could happen to her, then what would happen to me?
I spoke with attorney David McDivitt, who says legally she is allowed to reject the pardon. He says that pardon also does not stop her ability to continue to appeal her convictions. We will follow her case. Multiple Capitol police officers died in the aftermath of the Capitol attack. 4 died by suicide. According to the chief medical examiner in D.C., the next day, another officer had a stroke and died. The medical examiner said that officer died of natural causes. 4 Trump supporters died too. More than 140 police officers were hurt.